This video is on how not to say things in way more words than would ever be needed when you write your paper, or being concise. And I am Mary Went. So the first question is, why would you want to be concise? What's the importance of this particular skill? Strunk and White, from their book The Elements of Style, say that vigorous writing is concise. A sentence should contain no unnecessary words, a paragraph no unnecessary sentences, for the same reason that a drawing should have no unnecessary lines and a machine no unnecessary parts. This requires not that the writer make all his sentences short, or that he avoid all detail and treat his subjects only in outline, but that every word tell. And this is the key point right here. You want every word that you have in your writing to tell something to your reader, to contribute to your ideas and to make your ideas more clear. In general, writing that is too wordy does not tell, it confuses, and it makes your ideas fuzzy. So you want to make sure your writing is as concise as possible. So what does concise writing look like? What does it mean to be concise? Being concise means saying things in as few words as possible to make your ideas clear. So here's an example of something that is wordy. Up to this point in my life, choosing what I am going to do for the rest of my life has been the biggest decision I have had to make. The idea in this is choosing what I will do in my life has been my biggest decision. This is significantly more clear than this one. So this is wordy and this is concise. So let's look at some of the clues that you are being wordy and various ways that you can try and clean up wordiness in your writing. Wordy clue number one is when you're being very overly enthusiastic about your ideas. So when you get passionate, you may feel the need to use words like very and really and certainly and so. These are all words that you don't want to use any more than you need to. What you want to do is choose words that convey the very or the really on their own. So instead of saying, she brushed her hair very vigorously, she vigorously brushed her hair, we have this word right here which conveys the idea of vigor without the word very in there. And we also don't need really. So these are some of the common words that can help you know that you are being overly enthusiastic, and you can usually cut them out. This one is especially important. I see that one a lot. Wordy clue number two is the idea of false starts or having a weak beginning to your sentence. A very common thing to do is to start your sentences with these two phrases: there were, or there are, or there is, or there was. So if you find that you start your sentences with this phrase a lot of times, most of the time you can eliminate this phrase completely and just use a sentence that has a different verb in there. So Matt had lots of marbles in his bag instead of there were a lot of marbles in Matt's bag. Or the clouds cast strange shadows instead of there are clouds in the sky casting strange shadows. Okay, so there's no need for those false starts. Generally, you can get rid of them and your sentence will still have the same meaning. Wordy clue number three is overuse of the verb to be. So to be, or you have to decide whether or not you want to use the verb to be. So if you want to know what those verbs are, they are am, are, be, been, was, were, and is. These are the forms of to be. The most common ones are going to be is, were, was, and are. I recommend doing a search in your paper. Use the search tool and see if you can find these words. And what you want to look for is not using these words maybe more than 4 or 5 times per page. If you have more than 4 or 5 times per page, then you are perhaps overusing this verb, and that's adding them all together. So there are 3 different ways that I've given you here that you can strategically eliminate the to be verb. One is to just substitute the to be verb with another verb that is clearer or more specific. So instead of the cherry pie is good, you say the cherry pie tastes good. Taste lets us know what part of the pie is actually good. Does it look good? Does it smell good? You say it tastes good. So it's more specific, and generally you can get rid of the to be verb. Another way that you can eliminate the to be verb and have stronger verbs is to take a word that's already in the sentence and turn it into a verb. So here we have Charles Schulz was the creator, and you can change that to Charles Schulz created. So you're taking something that's already there and just turning it into a verb and getting rid of that to be verb. Or you can combine sentences. So here we have the child was sad. The young person was feeling that way because of the news story about the death of the homeless man. And if you combine the 2 sentences, then you have no to be verbs. The news story about the death of the homeless man saddened, there's your verb, the sensitive child. So these are 3 different ways that you can get rid of some of these to be verbs. You remember you want to shoot for 4 or 5 a page, and that's plenty. Wordy clue number 4 is having too much negativity in your sentences. If you overload on words that convey the negative rather than the positive, not only is it wordy, but it's also less clear. Your ideas will become a lot more foggy. So here we have critics cannot avoid employing complex and abstract technical terms unless they unsuccessfully analyze literary texts and fail to discuss them in a meaningful way. So we have 4 negatives here. So if we shift everything to the positive, critics employ complex and abstract terms to analyze and discuss literary texts and meaningfully discuss them. I don't think we need that last part there. Critics employ complex and abstract terms to analyze and discuss literary texts. So that's significantly clearer than this one. So watch out for too much negativity. Wordy clue number 5, saying it twice, 2 times again. This is redundancy. This is when you are saying things more times than you need to. Okay, so this is a really redundant and wordy sentence, and this is one of the most common kinds of wordiness that I see. Most likely, a majority of all patients who appear at a public medical clinical facility do not expect special medical attention or treatment because their particular health problems and concerns are often not major and for the most part can usually be adequately treated without much time, effort, and attention. That is such a mouthful that it's almost hard to read. Really what it says is patients who attend a clinic do not expect special treatment because their health concerns are usually minor and can be treated quickly. So what you see is a majority of, which you don't need. You can say most patients who appear at. You don't need who appear at. A public medical clinical facility. You can just say at a clinic. Do not expect special medical attention or treatment. Do not expect special treatment because their health problems are often not major and can be treated quickly. So there's a lot of these phrases that that are being used more than once here and are worded in a different way. This happens when you feel that you want to make sure you're getting your idea across, and so you over-explain. So avoid over-explaining things and be concise. Wordy clue number 6 is called meta-discourse, or when you're talking about what you're talking about. And that includes saying things like, this section introduces another problem, that of noise pollution. The first thing to say about it is that noise pollution exists. This is much more concise. This section discusses the existence of noise pollution. Okay, so all of that meta discourse can go. Wordy clue number 7, and this is very common and something that's difficult to avoid, but it's something that's really important, is trying too hard to sound like you're smart. We're using academic gobbledygook. Okay, so this is an example of saying things in a way that doesn't sound like yourself. The presentation of gender has been an incredibly active theme that has been used as an ongoing discussion point. And you may read that and think, that sounds really great. That really is a nice academic sentence, but it's very unclear. This is more clear. People often talk about gender, or gender currently is a hot topic. These sentences will sound more like you, they'll sound more genuine, and they're significantly more clear. So you want to shoot for this, be yourself, and don't try too hard to sound like an academic. So you may have gone through all of these and thought, okay, that's great, but what do I do when I'm given a page length requirement? What's important here is to understand that page length requirements, for the most part, I cannot speak for all professors, are given to you because your professors are looking for depth. And they understand their assignments and know that if they have given you, let's say, a 4 to 6 page length requirement, that it will take you 4 to 6 pages to address the issue that you have been assigned to discuss. If you are on page 3 and have not yet made it to page 4, then you want to be more thorough and more thoughtful and not more wordy. It's one of those things that's difficult to do, but this is what your teachers are looking for. And this is what makes good writing, is being thorough, being thoughtful, giving a lot of examples. Always give examples. Make sure that you have clear claims and are organized well. But these kinds of things will give you a significantly better paper, not a bunch of extra words. So keep in mind that effective writing is clear writing. It is not wordy writing. And all we're shooting for is effective writing.